Hi, I'm Lance Ash, and this is my wife Bonnie.
Hello.
And this coming week is going to be the last week at the facility that I was transferred to almost exactly 9 years ago. Now, there's every possibility, every chance that the powers that be will try to throw a monkey wrench into everything and stop this from happening, but supposedly I'll be going back to Athens week after this coming week.
That's Sunday, a week from today.
Yeah, a week from today. So anyway, given that the transfer happened almost exactly 9 years ago, I decided to look up my diary entry for that first day 9 years ago, and I read it to Bonnie yesterday, and she told me it was so good she wanted to hear it, me to read it here. All right, hold on a second. Here we go. All right, this is from April 17th, 2015, and this was written as I'm getting ready to go to work that first day. Well, here it is, that fatal day at last. I can't believe it's actually going to happen. I said goodbye to no one. Shitty night. I have a cold. Got maybe a little over 4 hours of sleep today. Did nothing but eat as much as possible. It's going to be rough. Now, this was written the next day after I have done my first shift. This is April 18th. It is horrible. The place is like a prison. No free time. I listened to German on the way up and back. That was good. I must remain devoted. Started crying on the way home this morning. Truncated afternoon, but still productive. Going to have to make time to read every day. I'll go ahead and read you another one. This is the next day. An easier night. They moved me to another operation for a while, which is my final motivation in deciding I do want the mail tech job they offered me at first. So, anyway. And so I did the mail tech job for 9 years and got pretty good at it. And so this last month, they've decided to fuck me over as much as possible by sending me to this letter sorting tray, sweeping conveyor belt, stupid thing. So anyway, any thoughts on that, Bonnie?
Well, we had a moment or 12 of schadenfreude this week because you weren't the only one that was discontented. Employees started sneaking photos and videos out of the building, contacting senators, and customers began complaining. And the news channels and news cycles are littered with stories of dozens, if not hundreds, of trucks backed up, mail delayed not for days but weeks, even months, people not getting their rent paid, their pharmacy orders. One lady didn't get her wedding dress. It's been a little bit fun to watch the backlash.
Yeah, the Atlanta News, the new facility they opened that they sent a bunch of people to against their will is apparently a big disaster. And which I could have predicted that. They never should have moved my job in the first place 9 years ago. That was a big mistake. But the prevailing philosophy has become the profit motive will be the most efficient way. It's the way to make everything all better. The profit motive. No, it's not. It's a service. The cost of the stamps, the cost of the products is just to cover the cost of doing business. We're not turning a profit. And we're not supposed to turn a profit. It's stupid. Anyway, what?
Well, the profits really, it isn't about the profits. I have a couple theories. Number one, they keep doing improvements to the facility you're at currently in Duluth, to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars on each dock, and then building improvements. I suspect they're improving it so that they can eventually sell off the building to one of Louis DeJoy's cronies or one of his companies he's invested in. But another thing is, as far as profit's concerned, there is no profit currently at your workplace. They have eliminated one of the shifts altogether. And as a result, they have mandatory overtime to the tune of 4 hours a day.
Yeah, last week I heard one of the supervisors talking to somebody, and he was complaining about how screwed up the building was. And he said, we told them, don't do away with the third shift, which is the afternoon into the evening shift. But no, that's what they wanted to do, and to make up for it, we'll just make the other people work 4 hours over a day. And he said, what's going to be the result of that? You're going to have people getting hurt, people getting exhausted, people calling in sick, and then they're going to start whining, they're calling in sick. This is a supervisor saying this. Luckily, I have a medical condition, and my neurologist has ordered me not to work any overtime, so they can't screw me over. Can you imagine driving an hour and 15 minutes to get to work, and then being told you got to work 2 hours over, and then drive?
4 hours.
Well, I'm not on the overtime desired list, so they can't make me work 4. But normally they would make me be able to work 2, except for Christmas, when you can be forced to work 4. But I remember that first day clearly. On the job up in Duluth, and I remember it was raining on the way home, and I was just so upset because I just couldn't believe how badly they'd screwed me over. Anyway, so any other thoughts?
I'm going to be grateful for you to return. It's technically, 12 miles?
It usually takes 12 minutes to get to work.
And to get from here to there, it's opposed to 125. I've already readjusted our car schedule. I was getting it serviced every 6 to 7 weeks. Now it's going to be every 3 to 4 months, probably every 3 months, just to be on the safe side. It's going to be good to have you back home. It's going to be good to know that you're not going to be stuck in that horrible traffic, and that you're close by. I mean, close enough that, I can arrange to somehow or another get you home if something happens. I remember getting a call in the middle of the night several years ago. They woke me up. Lance has passed out. He just had a seizure and fell on the floor and hit his head. We've called the EMTs. They're over here now, but he's not quite clear-headed. He's not making much sense. So I had to walk them through what to expect with your post-ictal behavior, that is, behavior after a seizure, and have you sit out until I was able to get up there an hour and a half later and pick you up. And now I know that even in the worst of nights, it's 15 minutes to get you if something happens.
Well, I thought you were talking about the time when I was working in Athens, and I had a cold or something, a bad flu, and I was trying to stick it out. And actually, I went to this little office to start filling out a leave slip to go home early. And the woman Laura I used to work with, she said she came in there to check on me, and my head was back, and I was throwing up into the air, and it was coming down all over me. I had passed out, and I was throwing up. Oh God, that was just horrible. I went to the hospital that night. My dad came by and saw me in the ER, and I remember one of the nurses saying, he's so pale, and my dad said he works nights, but the undertone was, why doesn't he have a tan? My dad comes from the generation of healthy tan, which means cancer. Anyway, so I'm trying to think of some other news. Bonnie is so proud of our little home. It's really looking sharp lately.
Better than ever. Yeah. I had to work on the closet this week. I needed to go through the typical woman's collection of purses And I said, to heck with it, I'm going to rearrange things. And so I found myself taking on another major renovation, not meaning to.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to try something different. We ought to do what a lot of other people who make videos say, link in the description below, and we'll put a link to our new bookcases over here.
Okay, if you want to do that, I'll give you the link later.
And we'll also include a link to, I just posted the latest issue of my online magazine. Oh, the printer got stuck in the middle. I should say the scanner got stuck in the middle. I had to restart the computer to get it to stop cycling around or whatever the hell it was doing. Oh, God. I haven't been sleeping very well. This last month, they moved my starting time from 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. And it's really thrown me off. And
It's worse than that. You had to adjust your dosing schedule of medicine.
yeah.
And that was me scrambling, trying to get in touch with a neurologist, which has a crap system. The nurse thinks everybody's actions are suspect, so the doctor doesn't get any of the message. The doctor's fine with you needing information and a doctor's excuse, etc. But the nurse is of this crazy mindset, like they're just trying to get out of work, not realizing there's a legitimate reason to be concerned.
That's an odd attitude to have, given that my neurologist is so accommodating
She
to anything,
is.
you know.
But that nurse is a doorkeeper, and I don't get follow-ups. Or when I do, it's limited. Like I got, he needs to adjust his medicine an hour at a time for a week, and then move it another hour the following week, and then another hour. But do not go backwards. Okay, yeah, we don't want the medicines overlapping and having too much in the system. We don't want to have too little in the system, and we were trying to. We've had you call in a couple of days trying to adjust your medicines, and again this week you're going to have to call in because the transition of when you're going to be waking up will be moved, and so our time for dosing your medicine, your anti-seizure medicines, will have to be adjusted, and it's just one big mess after another. And if as many problems as we're having, apparently the post office is doing it even worse.
You know, I just realized I've been doing this video channel for little over 9 years, so there should be a video on here somewhere with me talking about that first day up there. Yeah, I think I used to record the show in the car. Yeah, of course I did, because I was rehearsing for it one night when I wrecked the car having a seizure. That was fun, too. I like that little white Prius, that first one, but I just smashed the shit out of it.
What color was the second one? Gray?
It was sort of a gray, silver gray.
Yeah, it was a lot nicer than the first one, but they were both great cars. I miss them.
I don't know, I like the first one because, I can't remember. It felt roomier to me.
Going and going and going and going. Those cars will just keep going. We had over 250,000 miles on each of them, and close to 300,000 on the first one when you totaled it. And the second one, there was some fuel injection issues that could not ever be resolved. So we ended up getting the Subaru you have now.
We, many years ago, before they renovated the Athens library, they had, in the video rental or checkout section, they had a bunch of they still had VHS tapes you could check out. And the Blair Brothers had the 4-part Spice Island saga.
Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire. The first one's called Spice Island Saga, but it's the Ring of Fire series. And we used to watch those a lot. Well, only the first film in the series is on YouTube right now for free. The other 3 are on Apple TV or Vimeo or something, whatever it's called. $2 a pop. So anyway, Bonnie and I started watching the first one again this morning, and I just have such... I just have such a nostalgic feeling watching it, and also it's just such a romantic. You know, this is 1972, and traveling around through Indonesia back then. I bet you all, but they're on this boat that's made out of this basically hand built boat made out of wood, and the ropes on it are made out of coconut husk fibers. And there's these two little boys on the boat that are like the helpers on the boat. And they said that before this journey, the boys had never seen cars or ice or electric lights. And I told Bonnie, we were watching this morning, I said, I bet you today these villages and these places, it's all different. Now, it's all ruined with cell phones and Coca-Cola and advertising and shit.
Well, they did have Coca-Cola. Remember, they were loading on cases of Coke in bottles onto the boat as they left.
That's a whole different world. Bottles. Recycling bottles. That doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, it was just... In case you're wondering, it's Lawrence and Lauren Blair. They were sort of like amateur anthropologists and filmmakers in that part of the world. And Lauren fell down a manhole cover in Jakarta back in the 80s and broke his leg and got gangrene and died. And his brother Lawrence is still around. He's sort of like a peddler of woo, sort of, meditation is the way to get in contact with the spirits and all this shit, but still. Oh yeah, and the films were financed by Ringo Starr, which is because they needed money. They had an idea to make these films, and somehow somebody they knew Ringo Starr, and he agreed to fund the films. I wonder if he still gets a piece of the action off those today. Probably. And when we get done here, I have the book that was the official PBS publication that accompanied the films and that came out over here in the cabinet somewhere. I'm going to dig it out in a minute. What else has been going on?
I have no idea. I don't know that I want to talk politics this week.
Oh, I don't mean politics. I mean our personal lives. I mean...
Peter's getting the runaround. It's been 5-6 weeks. He can't get his prescription renewed. He's living on doctor samples.
Who's supposed to renew it?
Atlantic Gastro, DBA Athens Gastro at Millage Avenue. It's just a real cock-up. The whole place is so poorly run. I don't think they even keep notes from visit to visit.
I was telling Bonnie, I really feel when I watched, going back to the films, when I watch something like that, I really kind of get upset because I'm in a position now with my health problems and everything. I'm tied to civilization. I'm tied to pharmacies. I have to have pills to function every day. I can't just, like when I was 20, I would just decide, fuck it, I'm going to get in the car and go for a trip this weekend and just disappear.
I remember doing things like that when I was younger, just taking off. And you don't have that freedom anymore. And, I mean, we get a call every single week about some prescription. One of us needs a prescription to go pick it up, yada, yada, yada.
And plus now...
Oh, and doctor's appointments for one of us every other month, some specialist.
Yeah, and I don't know, I looking back, I did a lot of stuff like that. Yeah. Just disappear. Nobody knows where you're at.
Yeah. I remember an old girlfriend and I went up to the mountains. We went camping for a weekend and went rafting and stuff. Next weekend or so, I headed back up there on my own. And I get a call Monday, where were you? I went back up there. I had some fun. Yeah, and I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I could have disappeared into the Nantahala forest and nobody would have known where I was unless they found my car.
Yeah, speaking of which, at work in the break room, they have the TV on all the time, and I've seen a lot of ads for, I guess, the tourism board of Key West promoting Key West as a vacation destination. I've been to Key West twice, and Key West is a place to get drunk, and that's about it. There is nothing else there. Half the island is a gay community, and the other half are bikers, and that's it. And there is no beach. It's just a rocky, cutting up coastline.
There was a small naval testing thing down there back in the 60s. My dad worked down there.
Well, I went to the gate of that place, and like there's nothing else to do. Let's just try to see if we can get a tour of the naval base. We pulled into at the gate, and the guy's like, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, do you have tours?" "No, turn your car around and get out of here."
Yeah, when he was doing, I think it was weapons testing, he'd go down there either for a summer or between his quarters. Back then, the university was at a quarter system, and he had some kind of little pay thing where they would pay part of his college for doing it.
We've amazingly reached the time limit of the program for somehow. Anything else to add?
I want you back in Athens.
Oh, me too. I hope to God they don't try to screw me over. We have an announcement to make. Due to the recent negative press coverage of the post office, we're canceling any kind of deals we might have made with certain mail handlers and certain unions. All right, everybody. I think that's about it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.